Alright guys, so today I'm going to show you a really fast trick that uses two aces and also a normal deck of cards. So what I'm going to try and show you today is a really cool advanced sleight of hand skill that I've picked up on recently, where basically I have the ability now to precision shoot any card anywhere into the deck exactly where I want. Okay, so we're going to be using the two aces to help visualize this, but we also need a card selected by a spectator. So the spectator can say stop at any card. It really does not matter what the card is. Let's say we have the 10 of clubs. So the ultimate goal is to try to get that 10 of clubs in between the two aces, just like this. So we're going to begin by taking the 10 and leaving it on the table in full view the entire time, but we'll also be taking the aces and losing them in the deck face up anywhere, just like this. So you can see them in the middle of the deck the entire time. And then we will take your card, the 10 of clubs, right? And we will be shooting it somewhere into the deck, but hopefully I can shoot it exactly in between those red aces, okay? And you'll see this happen in real time, okay? And I'm only gonna have one attempt to do this, okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Boom, just like that. 10 of clubs in between the aces, one card in between, and you can look yourself. It really is your card, the 10 of clubs, and you can examine everything as well. So yeah, that is the trick, guys. Really fast, really fun, and also pretty easy. So if you'd like to learn how this is done, be sure to stick around for the tutorial. Alright guys, so here's the tutorial for the trick that you just saw. Super easy, super simple trick, not much to it. So there is a slight setup to this trick. The first thing is you'll want to use like two aces or two jokers, so just remove those ahead of time. But then the other setup are going to be your force cards, and essentially your force cards will be these two cards here, the 8 of clubs and the 10 of clubs. You can also use the 8 of hearts, 10 of hearts, or the diamonds or the spades. I'm just using the clubs. So you have the 10 of clubs in the second position, and then the 8 of clubs will be directly on top of that. And I will get into the reasoning why you do this later, but that's going to be your setup for the trick. And then for the little production, in the very beginning, you can take one of your aces placed face up and then the other one face down. And then to begin the trick, you say, okay, so we're going to use two jokers or two aces, and you just do a little top shot to produce those cards instantly like this. And it's a very exciting start to this trick. So then you can proceed to do a false shuffle of any kind, just maintain those cards on the top somehow any way you like. You can do this kind of shuffle. Just make sure that these cards will come back to the top in the end. And then I like to explain to the spectator what this trick is about before we actually do it. So I tell them that I have this ability to take a card and just precision shoot it anywhere into the deck. And that's what this trick is about. So we're going to be using the two aces to help visualize this. And now what I'm going to do is get ready for a riffle force. So we have our two fourth cards on top. I'm going to cut them into the middle, hold a break, and I can continue swing cutting, but just I'm holding a break right above those force cards. So now when the spectator says stop, they can say stop at any time, and I'm just going to do a riffle force where I basically lift up at the pinky break. No matter where they say stop with their thumb, I'm just going to let go and just pick up at the pinky, cut this to the top, and I'm going to now do a double lift showing the 10 of clubs as their selection. So now I'm going to pick up the two aces and explain that the goal is to try to get the 10 of clubs in between the aces. And as I say this line, I'm going to use these aces to help flip over the double like this onto the deck. Then I'm going to take the top card and actually place it directly in between the aces. Now this is going to be the 8 of clubs here. The 10 of clubs will be left on top of the deck. But what I'm going to do is show these cards like this. Just make sure not to flip your wrist over, but show the cards like this and then push over the top card and catch a break. So now you have a break on that 10 of clubs. I'm going to place this sandwich back on top of the deck, square up the card like this. So I have 4 cards total with my break. I'm going to pick these up. So I have 4 cards in my hand, peel off the top ace, and then flip my wrist over to show the 10 of clubs and say, I'm going to take the 10 of clubs here and place it on the table. And I'm going to thumb that off as well, and then take this double in my hand here, place that directly on top, but I'm also going to place my pinky down before I do that. So I have a pinky break now right below that second face down card, but I'm going to strip out this top card here, which is actually going to be the 8. So this is going to be the 8 now, which you'll place on the table. Say, we'll just take your card, place it on the table for now. And then the two aces we will lose into the deck. So because I have this break here, what I'm going to do is insert my fingers into the gap and basically push out this second card. So now it's going to be side jogged like this to the right. And this is all going to be covered by my fingers like this, so the spectator won't be able to see this happening. And I also like to lift my wrist up a little bit as well, because if it was like this, they could maybe see the card through this part of my hand. So I just lift my wrist so they can't see that. Then I'm going to riffle down about half the deck and then undercut this to the top. So now I have cut those aces into the center, but their card is still going to be outjogged to the side. And now this is the perfect opportunity to spread the card on the table from left to right. And what this will do is it will actually conceal that card underneath the spread. So if you just spread the cards from left to right, it'll look as though the two aces are now face up together in the middle of the deck with nothing at all in between them, even though the 10 of clubs is actually in between them. You just won't be able to see it because the ace is pushed over to the side. So all you do is you say, okay, we have the two aces in the middle of the deck. Then I square this up, leave that image for a second just to show that they're face up in the middle of the deck. And now this is my favorite part of the trick. I love doing this part because it's so convincing. You're gonna just give the card a little spin if you know how to do that, because it doesn't matter which orientation it lands because it's a symmetrical card, obviously. But what I'm gonna do is just flash this 10 of clubs to the spectator, and it looks something like this. I just make sure to place my fingers on the top right and bottom left corners like this before I flip my wrist, and all this does is it just covers the numbers. So I'm just covering the eights like this, and the spectator is just gonna see a bunch of clubs, and you're gonna say, so we'll take the 10 here, and they're just gonna put the two pieces of information together in their head. They're just gonna hear the word 10 and then see all these clubs, and they're just going to automatically assume that this is the same 10 of clubs that they've been seeing the entire time. And it's just a very brief moment, just a very, very brief flash of the card, and then all I do is pick up the deck and get ready to dribble the cards. So just throw it anywhere. Don't actually try to throw it in between the jokers, obviously. Just throw it in a random spot, and that will essentially lose that card anywhere in the deck. And now you can very cleanly finish the trick by spreading the cards out on the table, and then you have this beautiful image of just you separating this. Then you can separate the aces as well and have the spectator turn over their card in between the aces. And that is the trick. And they can examine everything, because if they do think that there is a second 10 of clubs somewhere into the deck, there really is not. So that is also a very big plus of this trick. And you can really do this with any deck of cards. Like you can do this with a borrowed deck of cards as well. So that's awesome. So yeah, that is the trick. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. And yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.